I am tired of attending lousy webinars. So many of them are just too long and too boring. I lose interest in listening, and I lose interest in watching. So, having produced hundreds of webinars myself and having had thousands of people in the audience, what I'd like to do now is share 6 of my very best webinar tips with you. I will help you get set up for success, show you how to keep the audience engaged, and ultimately help you to achieve your goals, whether you're selling something or providing training. Welcome. My name is Stuart Cohen, your Chief Motivation Officer, and let's get started. First, the setup, tip number 1. What's the point? Why are you doing the webinar to begin with? What's the key message you need to get out there and the key message I need to hear? So it's essential before you go anywhere, do anything, you crystallize your intention, because it will then be much easier for you to write the presentation. You'll be on focus. It'll be so much easier for you to mark it too. So when you go to describe it to me, I'll know what I'm going to get. And finally, it'll be so much easier to keep short and potent. See, webinars need to be shorter. We're writing them too long. They don't need to be the hour. They don't even have to be a half hour. They could be really short as long as they stay on focus, are well targeted, and have significant power because they're so on point. Now let's go to setup, tip number 2. What's in it for me? Why should I give you my time? I'm a busy guy. Tell me exactly why I should show up for your webinar. So be sure the title and the description are excellent, on point, and very descriptive. I do suggest you qualify. Think of it as qualifying so that I know when it's not for me, but I know when it is for me. And you do that by setting expectations so that I know when I tune in, this is exactly what I'm going to get. So I know if I should come or not. The other tip there is to quantify, to make it tangible by saying, I'm going to give you 10 tips. I'm going to give you 2 tips. Tell me exactly what I'm going to get. People love numbers these days. I use that all the time. And be provocative. It's okay to be exciting and stimulating, even though it may not be the most exciting of subjects. I hope it is. But be intriguing. Pique their interest so they want to show up, so they want to RSVP, and they do show up. Now let's go to the delivery. Tip number 3. Impress me immediately. Ladies and gentlemen, you've only got seconds to impress me or not. You see, if you show up late to your own webinar or you start it late, I'm going to think a little bit less of you. I may not pay as much attention to the rest of what you've got to say because kind of your integrity dropped a couple of notches. Basically, the bar was already set low. So it's critical for us to start exactly on time. And I know there'll be stragglers. That's okay. They're stragglers because they probably assume you're going to start late, like the rest of the boring webinars that are out there. But not you. You're going to raise the bar and start right on time. And you're going to sound strong. Be excited right at the get-go and excited to welcome them to your webinar. Look strong too. Make sure that first slide is colorful, is welcoming, is vibrant, and tells your story. Now, the delivery, tip 4, show great form. If you just get on the call and ramble, I'll know it, I'll hear it, and I'll leave. But if you have a good structure and develop a good rhythm, I'm going to stay. And more important, I'm going to come back for more. So right away, confirm the title and description. That shows me I've showed up for the right webinar, and that also just validates again that I've made a good choice and you're going to deliver exactly what you promised. And then give a short and impressive personal introduction. If they don't know you, you really need to let them know your qualifications and why they should pay attention to you, because you know what you're talking about. If they already know you, then just say hi and welcome back. Then confirm the timing and the structure of the program. If you promised there's going to be 30 minutes or less, tell them we'll be done and out of here in 30 minutes or less, and tell them of the structure. So just review how the webinar is going to play out. And if you have a guest, tell them, remind them, so they have an expectation set. And don't blabber. Here's where so many webinar presenters go south. They blabber. It goes on for too long, and that's when I get bored of listening and get bored of watching. The delivery tip number 5, talk to me. I know when you're delivering a webinar, it's tough to talk to a computer screen. Try to connect one-on-one. Just make believe there's a friend sitting at your desk and you're talking to your friend. Make it more conversational. You're not talking to thousands of people in an audience, because you're really not. More than likely, your viewers are sitting in an office or sitting at home. They're not usually sitting in a group of thousands of people. If that's the case, talk to the whole audience, but really focus on a one-on-one conversation and pause and vary your speed and your tone, because we're talking. And of course, speak passionately. The more you inject into that and you get your excitement across, whether you're training or selling, it will come through, as will your smile or lack thereof. If you're not smiling, I'll know. If you are, I'll know. I've been smiling throughout this whole webinar. And if you think you might forget to smile, put a mirror next to your computer so you can make sure you're smiling the whole time. And now we go to tip 6, the wrap, which is end big. This is critical. Perhaps you've been doing fantastic the whole time. You don't want to lose them here. You want to end big by summarizing your big ideas. Now, don't go back through the whole webinar you've just given. I've heard that, and when I hear that, I'm gone. So give a quick summary of some of the big aha moments that you hope they've gotten from your webinar, and give me the call to action. What do you want me to do now? Should I ask for a paper copy of this? Should I call? Should I buy? What do you want me to do? Because there's got to be some call to action with your webinar. Make it clear so I know what you want me to do. And naturally, express gratitude. You can't thank people enough. And they'll be more apt to come back too. And finally, offer bonus tips. I believe in giving people a little bit more than what they're expecting. So I kind of supersize the webinar, which is exactly what I'm going to do with you right now. Here, I have 3 more of my very best webinar tips, starting off with end on time. Wow, I can't make this important enough for you to know that by going overtime, you will destroy everything you've already done. As good as a presenter you might be, I'm going to get itchy looking at my clock saying, wait a minute, you're going overtime, and that's not fair. Give me my time back. My time is valuable. You're showing me that you don't respect my time. Offer Q&A. I think this is critical. It's great to endorse interaction and get engaged. If you're recording it, that's okay too, because sometimes that banter, or when you're sort of put on the spot to answer questions, really shows just how much you know. You can really shine with Q&A, but give people the option. Say, listen, our program is over, but I told you at the beginning we're going to have Q&A. You're welcome to stay for the Q&A. You can ask questions or sit back and listen. You want to promote part 2. You see, when I was putting this webinar together for you, I realized I've got so many more great tips. So rather than go on and on and on in this webinar, I'm going to end it momentarily, but I'm also going to promote part 2. And part 2 will have 16 more of my absolute best tips for great webinars. And I'm going to deliver that in a 5-minute or less webinar. I will help you create super successful webinars. I thank you for your thumbs up and for your like and your comments and suggestions. I do encourage you to catch part 2, where I will give you 16 more of my best tips in 5 minutes or less. And I would ask you kindly to share with friends or colleagues, perhaps somebody who gives boring webinars, and you can gently give them this link and help them to create even stronger ones. I'm Stuart Cohen, your Chief Motivation Officer. Thank you